As the chair of our Housing and Insurance Subcommittee, the gentleman from Nebraska, Mr. Flood, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to focus my questions this morning on two subtopics. Number one, the rollout of the Basel III Endgame proposal and the implementation of the Genius Act for stablecoins. I sent a letter with Senator Ricketts back in February requesting that you all address the cap on mortgage servicing assets as applied to the Common Equity Tier 1 formula for banks across the country. This cap is a significant barrier, particularly for smaller banks that have very little capacity to participate in mortgage servicing with the cap. I was very pleased to see that the current proposal removes the mortgage servicing deduction entirely, and I do believe that this change will make it easier for institutions, both large and small, to participate in mortgage servicing. This question is for Vice Chair Bowman, Comptroller Gould, and Chairman Hill. Can you each address why you thought the cap should be removed on mortgage servicing assets in the proposal? And then can you also talk about any other changes that you'd like to highlight in the rulemaking that you feel will help get banks back in the mortgage business? We'll start with Ms. Baumann.
Thank you for the question. As I mentioned earlier, the mortgage servicing business and the mortgage origination business has been a very traditional banking activity and is a primary source of relationship lending for community banks in particular. So we wanted to find ways to incentivize and encourage banks to return to the mortgage business so that they could serve their customers. This was one way that we could do that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gould.
Thank you. I would just note that we made a number of changes post-2008 that pushed some of these activities, including mortgages, outside of the banking system, I think to our detriment. If I could make a broader contextual point, if I may, last week, Secretary Bessent gave a tour de force speech at the Reagan Economic Summit. Some of you, I think, were there, entitled While America Slept. And he linked specifically the connection between economic security and national security. A lot of what we are doing today, a lot of what I'm doing at the OCC is making sure that we are empowering banks and restoring them to their proper role of being able to promote economic growth in this country, which is essential to economic security, which, as Secretary Bessent has so eloquently linked it, is also essential to national security. So that is a broader context in which I think you should view many of the actions that I, at least at the OCC, am taking.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Hill?
Yeah, I would just echo that I think removing some of the obstacles to banks engaging in the mortgage business is extremely important. One other piece of the Basel proposal that is also, I think, very important is the improved risk sensitivity for mortgages that are held on balance sheet by tying it to loan-to-value ratios. I think that will go a long way in encouraging banks to originate and retain more mortgages and reduce the amount of mortgages that are being funneled through the GSEs.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to talk about the implementation of the Genius Act. In April, the Department of Treasury issued an advance notice of proposed rulemaking for determining whether an existing state-level stablecoin regulatory regime is substantially similar to the federal regime pursuant to the Genius Act. This is the first step towards a process that will ultimately allow some stablecoin issuers to be regulated at the state level. I passed a bill to make Nebraska the second state in the nation to allow state charter banks to custody digital assets. Once these rules are finalized, an entity called the Stablecoin Certification Review Committee will review state laws to ensure they meet the criteria for Genius Act. The committee will be the Secretary of Treasury, either the Chair of the Federal Reserve or the Vice Chair of Supervision, and the Chair of the Federal Deposit Corporation. Vice Chair Baumann, have you discussed this with Chairman Warsh, and do you know whether you'll be the representative from the Federal Reserve on the Stablecoin Certification Review Committee, or if it will be Chairman Warsh?
Well, thank you for including the Federal Reserve in this initiative. We have not yet had the opportunity to discuss that, but it clearly is an important issue.
Thank you. It's important to me that we continue to keep this state and federal pathway in stablecoins. Served in the state legislature for 10 years. States are little laboratories for democracy, and there's a lot of innovation that's happening there. I guess with the remaining time I have, I would advise this committee that thanks to Nebraska corn, gasoline is 40% cheaper if you use ethanol. And so if we want to bring down gas prices, buy more ethanol, year-round E15, and go Huskers. I yield back.